The US-Israeli assault on Iran is a conflict in which every side is claiming victory. However, it was clear right from the start
Everybody loses.
that Iran wanted to make sure the toll exacted was so high
Nobody wins.
that any aggressor would think twice before trying the same thing. So far, that fallout has been economic. Following the COVID-19 pandemic, the world economy grew in leaps and bounds before being crippled by the Russia-Ukraine war in 2022 and the war on Gaza in 2023. Despite these shocks, it had been described as resilient. At the beginning of 2026, the IMF forecast the global economy growing by 3%. But the IMF's latest World Economic Outlook predicts the war on Iran will impact global growth by 0.2%, would have upgraded its forecast for the global economy if it had not been for the war.
In the next 6 months, we're going to have a very critical economic crisis. And I predict that we're going to have, end of the year, we're going to have economic recession worldwide. And it's going to be very painful for all countries in each corner of the world, governments, no idea how to solve this high impact of oil crisis. And additionally, we see the private sector is going to, the production costs is moving up and up.
So you're saying that there are no winners in this war, but excuse me for thinking a little bit cynically here. Do you think that the US has anything to gain from damaged oil infrastructure and instability in the Middle East?
United States have many companies, have multinational companies, but the real wealth, the real money comes from petrodollars, the transactions of the oil, and secondly, the sale of these defense systems that they are using actually there. And what we can realize now is that China now is defending the last fortress of energy that we call Iran. Because if they know that if United States take Iran, China economy collapse.
The US became the world's top oil producer in 2018. Canada is the world's fourth, Venezuela the 20th. This means if you're not buying from Russia or China, second and sixth respectively, and oil flow from the Middle East is at a standstill or unpredictable, your best option is the US and its allies, except if you're the US's biggest rival. China buys over 80% of all Iranian oil shipments, which meets close to 15% of China's oil needs. Now that China can't rely on Venezuela, Iran's oil has become more important. Iran began making oil transactions using the Chinese yuan, another threat to the petrodollar, and has managed to export goods and oil during the war right until the US announced a blockade on Iranian ports on Monday.
Can you believe this? We don't use this trade. We don't need this trade. We have our own oil and gas, much more than we need. We have more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia. Think of this. We produce more. Saudi Arabia and add Russia to it. Substantially more. And by next year, we'll have double that amount. So we don't need it, but the world needs it. And many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best.
Another one of China's key oil exporters is under threat. Instability in the Middle East may lead to increased oil demand from the US, and the Gulf states and Israel inevitably need more weapons from the US due to a war it started. Yunus, Demiroglu, TRT World, Istanbul.